Hello, my name is Jardiel Chuquitarco, and today I'm going to talk about the trade war between United States and China, one of the most significant international conflicts of the 21st century. I'll explain how this trade war began, how it evolved, and how we can understand its effects using the concepts that we learn in the international economic class, like tariffs, terms of trade, and trade policy instruments. Well, the US-China trade war officially began in 2018 when the United States, with the President Donald Trump, imposed tariffs on Chinese goods in response to alleged unfair trade practices, including intellectual property theft, forced technology transfer, and a large trade imbalance. By mid-2019, the US had placed tariffs on more than $360 billion worth of Chinese goods, and China retaliated with tariffs on over $110 billion in the US exports. These actions affect a wide range of industries like electronics, agriculture, and automobile sector were among of the hardest hit. In 2020, a partial agreement known as the Phase 1 deal was signed, in which China agreed to increase purchase of US goods and address intellectual property issues. However, many tariffs remain in place and tensions have continued since. All of this could be analyzed by the topic the effects on tariffs and non-tariff barriers on trade flows. But what is a tariff? A tariff is a tax on imports, and it leads to a decrease in imported goods, a rise in domestic prices, and potential inefficiencies. The US tariffs led to higher prices for American consumers and input costs for firms. For example, US manufacturers relying on Chinese components saw costs rise, reducing their competitiveness. Meanwhile, American farmers faced failing exports due to Chinese retaliation. This trade war also altered global supply chains. Some firms shift operations to countries like Vietnam and Mexico to avoid tariffs, which illustrates the concept of trade diversion. Now, talking about terms of trade, that basically is the relative price of a country's exports to imports, also shift. According to the class, large countries may improve their terms of trade through tariffs, but at a global cost of reduced efficiency. In this case, both China and the US experience mutual losses, and the IMF estimate global GDP could be reduced by about 0.8% due to these tensions. In conclusion, the US and China trade war highlights how political and economic objectives intersect in global trade. While it aimed to protect domestic industries and address trade balances, the use of tariffs brought higher prices, disrupted supply chains, and harmed both economies. A more effective approach would involve multilateral cooperation through institutions like the WTO, paired with target negotiations on intellectual property rights and fair trade practices. Thanks for watching.